Hey guys, Scott Jablinski, Modern Samurai Project. Thanks for joining me again. I tell you, I'm doing my best to get you some more content. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the Modern Samurai Project Black Belt Patch standards. Where I came up with them, why I came up with them, and maybe some tidbits on how to get better at them. Before we get started, two things. Number one, this is a way, not the way. Whether or not you think these standards are worth anything, I get it. I'll tell you what though, anybody who can pass these standards, if you think they're not a good shooter, you're fooling yourself. Number two, I am not a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even though these are based on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts. However, three-stripe purple belt doesn't sound as sexy a black belt patch standard. Hope you understand. Marketing, yo. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about what these are, okay? Why did I come up with them? Everybody wanted standards. They wanted something they could work on, applying on what having an application of what I taught and getting to the next level and seeing what define my capabilities, right? I am about 95% on my own standards, right? If an instructor is 100% on their own standards, they need to push themselves a little bit harder. I'm just saying, okay? So let's move on. First one is the 3 and 2 drill. 3 and 2 drill is on an IPSC target, except I add a 3x5 card to the head. From a draw, you're doing 3 rounds to the center alpha, and then immediately transitioning to the 3x5 card and giving me 2 there. The par time on that is 2 seconds, okay? Why do I think that drill is important? Because you're immediately switching from a gross sight picture at 3 yards using the appropriate amount of information to make an appropriately accurate shot at the speed and distance required, and immediately transitioning to a refined sight picture in the 3x5 card. You can think of 2 ways, either body head at extended Mozambique drill, or you can think of it like this thing needs to be shot here at 3 yards, and this small thing is something that represents something that needs to be shot at 15 yards and being able to transition between the two. It will also show you that if you try and game it and use gross and gross, you'll be successful 80% of the time. Guaranteed, the other 20% is when it actually counts for something, and that's when you will fail. What's the next one? The next one is at 7 yards. It's the one-shot drill, okay? From a draw, that is 1 second or less. Now, whether or not you think a 1 second draw is important, when it comes to core competencies and understanding and dissecting how you do your own draw, 1 second is pretty much the standard. And guess what, guys? It's really not that hard when you have the proper mechanics and you have the proper efficiency to hit a center alpha at 7 yards from a concealed appendix draw, okay? Regardless of whether or not you think that's important, I'll tell you what, if you're going to shoot 2 or 3 shots, you got to shoot 1. Might as well get that shot out there, because whether it's for competition or especially self-defense, usually the ones with first rounds on a target accurately is the one who's going to win. You do you though, okay? Then we stay at 7 yards and then we do a bill drill. A bill drill is from a draw, 6 rounds to an IPSC alpha. That is 2 seconds, okay? Where did I come up with that? It used to be said that, in USPSA at least, that if someone could do a bill drill from an open an open competition rig in 2 seconds or less, they could probably be a GM. These days, with the internet and classifier hit factors going up and all this other stuff and available training, it's you can kind of sort of think of someday maybe being a GM. But if you can't do it, don't even think about it, right? So I took that standard and I applied it to AIWB concealed along with the red dot for a couple things. A, that was a pretty hard standard, and I'm going to do it from concealment, which should be harder. And B, your idea that red dots are slow up close and you can't truck the dot in recoil is silly, and I'm going to do this in less than 2 seconds to prove it, okay? What skills are necessary for you to do it? All of them, right? Your index has to be good. Your binding has to be good. If you don't know what binding is, come to one of my classes. It'll change your life. I'm just kidding. It's not going to change your life. It'll just make you a better, accurate shooter. Your master grip needs to be good. Where you marry the gun, your recoil control, the way you build your grip for that recoil control, and your dot tracking or your iron sight tracking, all has to be legit, because anybody can pull something out of their ass once, maybe even twice, but 6 rounds, under 2 seconds, no one's pulling that out of their butt, okay? So that's where that is. Then we take it out to 25 yards, okay? And it is another one-shot drill, but it's a 25 yards, again, to an IPSC alpha in 1.5 seconds, okay? Why one shot in 1.5 seconds, okay? 1 second in my estimation at 25 yards would be a parlor trick. There might be people better than me at that, but it's not. So, but the 1.5 is to teach people that the difference between here and when you're seeing the gun. In my estimation, aiming is the relationship of the gun and or your sighting system, sometimes it's both, in relation to the target. So from here to here, you're not seeing the gun, so you're not aiming, so let's get it there. And then use the appropriate amount of modulation to get an accurate shot, okay? For example, there's no way you're gonna do it in 1.5. But if I smooth it out until like say an 80-20 or 90-10, like Ernest Langdon teaches, I'm gonna get that. So fast here, modulate out, boom, I get my shot, okay? These need to be done in order, okay? It is a building of fast but precise, to fast and accurate, to very fast and accurate over prolonged, to being able to modulate it out to one shot out at 25 yards. The path that you need to take, which generally starts with one of my classes or one of my virtual lessons, will get you to solve the riddle of the black belt patch standards. Now, the other good thing is if you can't take a class with me, or you don't have the technology to take a virtual with me or something like that, is that you can progress through these things. My standards are built based on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts. Congratulations, everybody here is a white belt. That's how you start out. But there's blue belt levels, brown belt levels, and then finally the black belt levels, okay? The black belts I came up with, the other belt levels were in conjunction with my very good friend Jim Dexter of Tactically Sound, as we sat over brown water and cigars and figured it out. Enjoy it. How do you get a black belt patch? All you gotta do is do it in front of me. Doesn't necessarily have to be in my class, okay? If I'm out training somewhere and I got time and you want to do it, we can do it. But most importantly, it's in my class. When you come to my class, if it's a 2-day class, you get a chance at the end of class to do it. So it's not a one and done thing. You can do it, try it at TD1 and try it again on TD2. The main thing in my classes, I teach you how to get better at my standards. Okay, so it's not a surprise that at the end of the class, I taught you all these things. Here's my standards. You didn't do anything to teach us how you do your standards. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why you suck. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But that's the thing. When you come to my class, I teach you based on these standards and the progression thereof so that you get better. That's my promise. Okay, so anyway, so that's my black belt patch standards. In the comments, if you got any questions, please list them. Comments, criticisms, it's all good. I'm a big boy, thick skin. If you do dig it, please hit that like button. If you like the overall content, please hit the subscribe, share it with a friend. As always though, be good, stay safe, get training.